King Solomon's flying carpets that spewed out laser beams and fire. We shouldn't be surprised because one of the past videos I made has to do with King Solomon's throne. Do you know that he had all these steps going up to his throne? And on each step he had a lion on each end of the step. And as he would walk up the steps, the lions would follow him and turn their heads. It's as if they had some kind of robotic technology, and these robot statue lions would turn their heads following the king of Israel as he was walking up all these steps towards his throne. Now we also know that the Hyperboreans or the Atlanteans or extraterrestrials also had very advanced technology, and one of the things that they had was passed on to Alexander the Great according to Plato, and that was the lightning rod of Zeus. And a copy of that is in one of the Buddhist temples of Nepal, the lightning rod of Zeus that was given to Alexander the Great. And this again was from Atlantean technology. So these pre-Diluvian, these pre-flood civilizations had a tremendous level of technology that we don't even know of today. So what about these quote-unquote flying carpets that spewed out these laser beams and fire? Flying carpets refer to the many legends from all over the ancient world, especially the Orient and Arabia, but could they imply alien ships as well? It's said that King Solomon had a 60-mile or 60-foot flying carpet capable of carrying 40,000 men. In other legends, King Phraates II confronted his enemy while flying on a rug capable of firing rays of light and fire. Gods and deities traveled in ancient times on Earth in powerful flying machines, as we know from the Atlanteans and also the Emerald Tablets of Thoth the Atlantean. Now, gods and deities traveling with powerful machines and can be found in various legends from different cultures around the world. According to the sacred book of Ethiopia, the Kebra Nagast dates from around the 4th century AD or more. King Solomon gave the Queen of Sheba a flying carpet, quote unquote. History is of great importance, and its importance is characterized by the fact that it refers to one of the most important ancient sacred texts ever written. The work is thought to contain the genealogy of the new Solomon dynasty. The Kebra Nagast is also known as the Book of Kings. It becomes the most sacred and important book of the ancient Ethiopians. It's believed that Sir Wallace Budge, a scholar working at the British Museum, created the first English translation of this Kebra Nagast, the Book of Kings of Ethiopia, of ancient Ethiopia. It's entitled The Glory of the Kings. The Kebra Nagast consists of 117 chapters. This ancient work, we find how King Solomon had some kind of a flying device, a flying machine. In addition, the book contains stories of how the Ark of the Covenant arrived in Ethiopia with Menelik I, the first Solomon Emperor of Ethiopia, traditionally considered the son of King Solomon with the Queen of Sheba. Okay, in addition, the book contains stories of how the Ark of the Covenant arrived in Ethiopia with Menelik I, the first Solomon Emperor of Ethiopia, traditionally considered to be the son of King Solomon, who is, of course, the son of King David of Israel. It's supposed that God had given King Solomon an understanding of the speech of birds and several other sacred teachings referred to as rulers of men, geniuses, and birds. In ancient legends, is described as flying in the air with a magic, quote-unquote, carpet made of green silk. The description of Solomon's flying carpet is disturbing. It's said to have been 60 miles long and 60 wide. Quote, and when Solomon was sitting on the carpet, he was caught by the wind and ran so fast with the air that he had breakfast in Damascus and dinner in Medina, two areas that are divided by tremendous distance. In addition to the above, several ancient myths in the Middle East talk about how King Solomon had a flying device in his possession that allowed him to travel smoothly over a series of peaks commonly known as Mount Solomon. In addition, Nicholas Rourke, a Russian-American explorer, traveled to Tibet and its mountains in the 1920s, and he claimed that the Tibetans had legends talking about King Solomon flying on his magnificent flying machine. So this makes us wonder if we are really talking about a flying carpet, or maybe, as some theorists suggest, an old type of flying machine. These myths do not just talk about flying rugs as a means of transportation. In many versions, flying carpets are treated or as represent powerful weapons. In fact, if we take a look at the stories of the 2nd century BC, we find how Phraates II, better known as Arsaces VII, took part in a battle with Antiochus II, king of the Seleucid Empire. We know about that in the Book of the Maccabees. And here's where the story gets interesting. Of course, these were descendants of the generals who took over the area after Alexander the Great conquered these areas. That was around 330 BC. So the Maccabees were about 150 BC. So it says here, we learn then that King Phraates II, better known as Arsaces VII, threw a flying carpet off the heights of Mount Zacro. On board, he boarded it, and when he reached his enemy, he fired from the flying carpet fire and lightning. Okay, that looks to me like it's some kind of a flying machine that has, some kind of laser technology as well. Now, after his victorious attack, it said that the king had flown over the heads of his soldiers to a triumphant reception. According to Hai ben Sharira of the Talmudic Academy, the lost library of Alexandria houses countless magic rugs, quote-unquote. Does it mean old Vimana or some other type of flying disc or flying boats? So if we take a look at ancient Hindu mythology, we'll find a series of descriptions that specialize in powerful flying machines called the Vimana. It's said that these powerful flying boats existed thousands of years ago, allowing gods, quote-unquote, and deities, quote-unquote, to travel long distances, even in outer space, in space. So this is, the more we read about this, the more we figure that these things are still around us. This Atlantean technology was in the past, and even it seems in the time of King Solomon, which was about 1000 BC. That's about 1000 BC. Now, could all this, but even the Seleucids were about 138 BC. Now, could all these incredible ancient flying devices be the chariot of the gods mentioned by Eric von Daniken in his books? Could it be assumed that flying carpets were in fact alien vessels, or simply flat planes and advanced technology used in those days? Fascinating. We even today call spacecraft craft, like a ship, a spaceship. All right, so please leave your comments. Tell me what you think about all this. Thank you for your support. This is from a Greek article I just translated for you from Diadrastika. Thank you. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.